Have you ever said no to a show that you've later regretted, where you think, oh, I wish I did that?
I wish I'd said no to Big Brother, because that was a horrible experience. And I was, unbeknownst to me, I was favourite to win that, because I'd done the jungle and I was in this one. So and they wanted a boy who, oh God, because he's a horrible man, who was in a show for Channel 5, which was Sex on the Beach or something.
Stephen Burr.
Stephen Burr, yes. And of course, he's in prison, I think, still, because of the incident with the girlfriend that he had, who he then put all these terrible pictures of, videos. And he was a horrible person. And they wanted him to win, to promote the series that they were doing. And so they got rid of me. And it was very unceremonious the way they did it. And I remember going home after being evicted, and I was in a sort of stunned mood. I couldn't believe what was happening. And I went home, and luckily Neil was there, and he was marvellous and able to help the situation enormously. And then I was on my computer, and there was an email from a man called Evgeny Lebedev, who is a Russian, and he owned the Evening Standard and the I newspaper. And he said, I got your email address, he said, and you've been treated so appallingly by the Big Brother that I'd love you to come next weekend to my house in Italy. And if you get to North Holt Aerodrome outside London, my jet will pick you up and take, well, I mean, suddenly talk about, being as down as I could possibly be, and then suddenly invited by this unbelievable Russian man who's a great friend now. I met him once, I think, before. But anyway, he was so nice. And the response from all my friends was universal. So it was fantastic. But it was, at that particular, there was like 4 or 5 hours of real depression.
Well, this is the thing. So for those people who are watching who don't know, Big Brother removed you from the house. They felt that some comments were made that were deemed anti-Semitic and even homophobic. But the bit that got me was in previous series before and after yours, people had made comments and weren't removed from the house. And when I always remember watching you so innocently going into that diary room and being told, and my heart went out for you. And I thought, like everybody else, I saw the response on Twitter, you were treated absolutely appallingly on that. And I don't understand why you were removed, because people had said worse.
No, I know.
Much worse. And it didn't make sense. Did you worry at that point when you heard you are leaving to the door to your right? Did you worry, oh, I've had the most illustrious career. Is this going to be it now? No, it never occurred to me that. But funny enough, I did think it 2 days later. I thought, what's going to happen? But the response from everybody, all my, people in the business who I respected, and everybody, the public especially, were absolutely outraged by it. And so that gave me the confidence to go on. And I think what they thought, the producers of the Big Brother Channel 5, they thought I was the one person that could sustain whatever happened. They knew I'd come back. And luckily I did, but it was pretty nerve-wracking at the time. Did they ever check up on you or reach out and say, are you okay? How are you dealing with this? Because, no. I mean, it was the headlines at the time. I remember Biggins kicked out of Big Brother. It was so big. And I couldn't imagine what that's like to be involved in that, because it was huge. No, and interestingly enough, too, a very good question you've asked there. When you go into something like the Big Brother or even the jungle, that you have to go through a psychiatrist and you have to talk to them. But no one came to see me. Actually, that's not quite a lie. There was a wonderful guy who was one of the psychiatrists on Big Brother, and he did ring me and say, look, I can't believe I said you can't do this to the producers. And they did it, and because they wanted their way to get me out so I wouldn't win. But he said, I want you to know that you are totally innocent of anything and you should not. And he did say that. So that gave me a bit of courage. Genuinely, that was one of those times I'm a big Big Brother fan, and there's been 2 moments in the history of the show that I found so uncomfortable. And that was one of them, because I thought, you deserve so much better. And to see someone that people look up to, an icon, a legend, to have an entrance at the back door wasn't acceptable. No, I mean, I was shocked at the time. I was just numb. I was totally numb. I couldn't believe it.
And I wasn't even allowed back in to get my stuff.
Yeah.
That came on later. But I mean, it was, they knew that they wanted that boy to win. And I'm so pleased he's in jail now.
He is not a nice guy, Stephen
No.
Bear. You know, when the other housemates so you'd obviously formed some really good bonds in there. So when some of these people were evicted, did they reach out to you and say, you know, I can't believe this happened to you. Are you okay? You know, some of the friends you met.
Yes, they did. They did.
Yeah.
Some of the good people did. But, you know, and also, you know, the Jewish thing was bizarre because there was a Jewish girl there, and I can't remember her name, who was, she was what can I call her?
Gemma. I don't know about Gemma.
I can't remember. She was Jewish and she wanted desperately to win. And I think she thought one of the ways was say that I'd said terrible anti-Jewish things. Well, I have so many Jewish friends, all of who stood by me, like Miriam Margolyes, Maureen Littman. They all wrote letters and, you know, it was incredible what people did. And, you know, because it was just unspeakable what they were trying to, you know, they I think, paid badly in the end. For that.
I mean, it didn't last very long after that.
Certainly not.